Hey Brian, you asked me how I would go about straightening the lines in that image that you posted to the group, and I figured the easiest way to do this is just quickly show you how I would do it in my software. And you know, artistically we could argue whether the lines need to be straight or not, and that's neither here nor there for what I'm doing. I'm just here to show you how I would line these up and make all the verticals vertical and the horizontals horizontal and everything line up nicely. I really like this image, this one you call Corporation Japan. It does tell a story about the corporate mentality in Japan, from what I understand of it. And this image really has a possibility to tell that story. I mentioned on the website that I have a little bit of concern about this this arc that's at the top up here that I think distracts from it. If it were me, I would crop that out, and I'll show you how to do that. I use Adobe Bridge and Camera Raw and Photoshop. I'm not sure what software you use. Maybe you use Lightroom or something else. If you use Lightroom, this will look very familiar to you. And it's just that I don't, at this point, use Lightroom, although Ron tells me he's going to convince me to use Lightroom here before long, so we'll see. Anyway, I use Bridge, and in Bridge, I've taken your image off of the website and downloaded it, and I have it in my download folder. And I'm just going to right click on it and open it in Camera Raw just to show you quickly that there are lens adjustments that you can make in Lightroom and Camera Raw through the lens correction tab over here. If you click on that, and if I knew what camera and lens you used, or if it was located in the EXIF data in your the image file that you posted, I could enter that in, but we don't know that. It's not in there, I noticed. So under profile, if it had the camera and lens information in there, we could enable lens profile corrections here, and it would do a lot to correct some of the known problems with whatever lens you use. But since we don't know what that is, we're just shooting from the hip here, so let me just uncheck that. Under the manual tab here, there are all kinds of possible ways of making some corrections, some automatic corrections and some manual corrections. Personally, I don't think any of this is going to work well for this image, but I'll show you just briefly that you can do some of this. There is an automatic function. If you click on this A right here, it tends to straighten the image a little bit, but it really didn't correct for all the to make everything exactly vertical and everything exactly horizontal and correct for any perspective distortion. So I'm going to cancel that out. Pardon me. I don't have much of a voice. I just came from a reception, and I've been yelling over the crowd for the last couple of hours, so I don't have a lot of voice left here. I apologize for that. Anyway, there's a couple of other possible correction tabs under here, under the upright, that you could use. One's called vertical. You can click on that, and you'll see that it did a fairly decent job of bringing the verticals up. But it really, this line across here, you can see is out of whack. Let's try this one here, which is vertical and horizontal. Click on that, and as you can see, it really didn't do the job either. This is still out of whack here. So anyway, you can also cancel that out, and there are all kinds of possibilities down in here, like rotation. You can do some rotation, you can do some vertical perspective distortion correction, some horizontal distortion correction. You can do all that in here, but it's so hard to see what you're doing and to get it right that I personally think that it would make more sense just to take this into Lightroom, pardon me, right into Photoshop and do some correction there. So let's see here. Let's make sure everything is zeroed out here, so that when I click Open Image, this image is going to come open in Photoshop. So in other words, Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw, I think you can correct all those verticals and horizontals, but I think it would be so difficult to do it. It's just so much easier to do it in Photoshop. So I'm going to take it on over into Photoshop by clicking on Open Image. And here it is located in my copy of Photoshop CC. The first thing you need to do, if you don't have it, is to have rulers along the edges of your window here. And if you go to View and click on that and come down, you'll see one portion that says Rulers. Click on Rulers. When you do that, you see you get these the scale along the top edge and along the left edge. And when you click in that area and hold down your mouse, your left mouse button, and pull down, it pulls down an alignment line. You see this? This nice teal colored line that stands out. And then you can see just how far off the image is. And now we can see that this line that's in the wall behind this gentleman, you can tell it's really really off. And you can come over here to the vertical side, the left side, and click on that, hold it down, and then pull in a line like this, and that'll give you a chance to see just how far off the verticals are on the left side. Then you can pull another line over here like this to the right side, and we start to really see just how far off this is. Look at this width down here compared to up here. So there's quite a bit of misalignment here. I'm going to pull a couple more lines down just so we have something to look at. I'm going to put one about, I don't know, like right here, so I can keep a look at the tops of these shorter posts, and you can see how they're getting taller and taller over here. And pull another line down to say, about this area here. And now as I twist and turn this image around a little bit, we'll be able to hopefully keep it in line with these little guidelines that I pulled in. The way to do that is to go to Select and click on Select All. And now you see the marching ants all around the image. Says that the entire image is selected. We go over to Edit, the Edit tab, click on that, come down to Transform, and then over here to Skew. And Skew is going to be the tool that I use to straighten this up, and let's hope that it works for me here. We may have to do a little tweaking on it, but let's give it a shot here first. If you go up to this little handle that's at the top left corner and click on that and hold it, and then start pulling to the left, you see it allows us to straighten these out. Now these edges look a little jagged right now, but they're not jagged. It's just the way that Photoshop is rendering it here. When we finish, it'll straighten those little jagged edges out. Don't worry about that. I'm looking over here on the right. I'm going to grab this handle right here and pull it out to the right. And now we've pretty much got the lines vertical, but now look at this horizontal line, this crack that's in the wall behind him. We can see that is really off there. So I'm going to grab this top left handle here, click and hold it down and pull upward to line that up, to straighten this line up. Now to make sure that we've got it just right, I'm going to let go right there. I'm going to pull another line down, alignment guide down here, and that's pretty close. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm looking at the tops of these posts, these short posts across here. It looks pretty good. Probably needs to go up just a little bit on the right, so I'm going to grab that handle and pull it up. And looking across here, let's see, this area, it looks like there's a little space there and hardly any space over here. So it looks like this side needs to come down a little. I kind of hate to do this because whatever he's got hanging on his belt right here, it almost looks like a camera on a strap, but it's probably not. It's probably a briefcase or an umbrella or something. Anyway, we're going to lose some of that, I'm afraid, when I grab this handle and pull downward here a little bit to straighten that up. And that pretty much lines everything up. I think I'm looking across here. This looks pretty good. Everything looks vertical and horizontal. So I'm going to click the check box, which means I accept all those changes. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect the image, and the marching ants go away. Then I'm going to go to View, Clear Guides, and that's going to take these teal color guidelines away from the image. They're gone. And now everything looks pretty much square. What I would like to do is see if I do like that more panorama crop that I mentioned to you earlier, and to do that and see if I like it, I'm going to click on the crop tool up here, and then I'm going to bring down the top to about there, below that little crack in the back wall. Click the check mark and take a look at that, and you know what? I do like that. I really like that panorama crop. Sometimes I'd look to make sure that I like the ratio, and the 16:9 is a pretty much standard ratio these days. That's what most computer screens are, so I'm just looking at that and saying, yep, if I go to 16:9, then that's a nice standard ratio that a lot of people are used to seeing, that'll fit right on most computer screens and most phones. So I like to go with the 16:9 crop. There it is, looks good. Let's if I save that, let me save that file out as let me change the name on it here and put it in the same folder and call it tilde Carl's edit. Save that, and then I can pull up your original image. There it is. Oops, comes in the camera raw first. Let me open it. There we go. Let me clear the crop off there. There we go. So there's your original image, and there's my edited image. Let me fill the screen with it here. Fit on the screen so we can compare the two. There's your original image, and here's my suggested image with everything lined up nice and square and cropped into a panorama. Whether you like that or not, I don't know. That's up to you, but at least everything is nice and square, and that's how I did it. I hope you find that helpful, Brian. Thanks. See you back in the group. Bye-bye.